There's a place right across town whenever you're ready. Well, people gather round whenever they're ready. And then the music begins to play. Feel the blues coming on its way. Are you ready?
All right, it is Thursday morning. You know what time it is now? Time for monkey time. I mean, the real estate roundtable with Loy Hardcastle. Good morning, Loy. Good morning, Tom.
It is monkey time.
Yes, it
And
is.
you need something to perk you up looking out the window. You know, it's kind of dreary out there this morning.
That's true. We've got an edge of yet another hurricane.
Yeah. This one's name, is it Beta, or
Beta,
Alpha or
yeah.
something like that? Beta.
Beta. So we've used up all the names in the
I bet they could come up with some more.
would imagine they're going to have the opportunity.
Yeah, it sounds like it, doesn't it? And listen, before we go too far, we must congratulate the engineer.
Yes.
Ronnie is a
mhm.
new father, and I just found out he had a baby girl. Congratulations.
Ta-da.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. That's interesting, and your life will never be the same. And that's a true statement, which you'll find out. You already know, but I mean, as she grows and so forth, and you become the focal point for her, and it's fascinating.
About 18 years from now, you'll have to buy a shotgun.
I just want to know, when do I start getting sleep? That's what I want to know.
Probably 30 days or so, I think.
Oh, okay.
It'll
Okay.
probably be 4 or 5
It's-
weeks.
It's been about 30 days, Lloyd.
Oh, has it? Well, never mind. My memory leaves me. At any rate, congratulations. Really,
Thank you,
that's super, and congratulations to your wife. And the young lady's name is Aurora.
Aurora.
Beautiful name. Beautiful name. We don't have time to explain how you got it, but anyway, it's a beautiful name.
Middle name?
Paisley.
Okay. Well, great.
That's pretty.
That's terrific.
That's pretty. All right, well, good. Well, hey, I heard you play Celebration this morning.
I did.
It sounds like you have a birthday or two.
I've got a couple. Sandy Wishard. Happy birthday to Sandy. Elena Lyle, a good old friend from middle school age. Elena Lyle, happy birthday to you. And then a great friend, and I attributed her this morning and played all songs by Lane Brody. Happy birthday, Lane.
You know, I was listening to that earlier, and that young lady, that singer, sounds similar to Dolly Parton.
About the same.
I couldn't
same hair.
at first tell if it was Dolly or not. At first I said, yes, it is. And I said, I don't think it is, but I just couldn't. Anyway, but has a great voice. Great voice. Okay, well, listen, I happen to have some birthdays. Surprise?
Huh.
All right, 1896 on this day, F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Oh,
was born.
incredible.
Great.
Yes.
Great writer. And this guy right here changed television, in my opinion, for the better. 1936, Jim Henson was born, the Muppets.
Yes, sir.
And I have seen a documentary on Jim Henson and on the Muppets, and his approach and the people that worked with him and did all of the puppets and things. Fascinating approach, and it really makes a difference when you see that documentary and then go back and look at anything that the Muppets do and how they attack certain words and how they emphasize things, which makes them more interesting characters.
Who's your favorite Muppet? Not what's your favorite Muppet. Who's your favorite Muppet?
Who's my favorite Muppet? Probably Oscar.
Yeah.
He lives in the trash can. Oscar the Grouch. I don't know that doesn't mean that to me, but Oscar was great, you know, and there's so many fun characters. I could talk about the Muppets this whole program. But anyway, another great gal here, Linda McCartney, Paul McCartney's wife, who passed away with cancer a few years ago, was born on this day in 1941, and then. Mean Joe Green, big football player.
The best Coke commercial ever.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I remember that. Was born on this day in 1946, and Phil Hartman, tremendous actor and comedian, because he seemed to be himself.
Yeah.
It just was a really interesting guy. Was born on this day in 1948, and I got to say, mentioning Joe Green, I read in the paper this morning where Gale Sayers passed
Yes.
away. One of the greatest, I guess, running backs for in the NFL, and of course played with the Chicago Bears.
I have a Gale Sayers story.
Oh, darn. Okay, you want to tell me?
In 1970, 50 years ago, Lloyd, my parents went to the Sugar Bowl every year because Hot Point, who my father sold stoves and refrigerators for, gave them a trip every year.
Yeah.
So they went to New Orleans. They took the train to New Orleans, and I'd stay home and work. And they called me and said, "We feel guilty about not bringing you. There's a plane ticket for you at the airport." And old Southern Airways took me to New Orleans to the game. The game was Arkansas versus Ole Miss, and Archie Manning played quarterback.
Oh my goodness.
And after the game, I came on home on Southern Airways, and Gale Sayers sat next to me on
Oh
the
my
plane.
gosh, man. That's a great story.
So,
What a coincidence.
and he was very loquacious, and it was an experience I could remember.
Great. Well, that's a great story. Great story. Well, and he was a fabulous player, and the youngest guy to ever be put into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And what was the movie that they made about him, and a teammate of his?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with that one. Anyway, on this day in 1934, Babe Ruth played his last game as a New York Yankee.
In 1934?
Yeah,
he played his last
1934.
game.
Now, he died in 1948, so
Yeah.
that was a pretty long stretch there. But last game as a Yankee. On this day in 1961, you'll know this, I used to watch this, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah.
Premiered on NBC in prime time now. That was a nighttime show.
Yeah.
Cartoon, which
Prime
was
time
probably pretty
cartoon.
unique for its time. 60 Minutes premiered this day in 1968, and that show's still going.
Yeah.
60 Minutes.
And a great program.
Yeah, it's on CBS. I think it's been on CBS the entire time.
You don't want to answer the front door and it be somebody from 60 Minutes.
No, you're exactly right. Let's see, The Love Boat, which was an interesting sitcom. When you go back and you see these things today, this thing premiered in 1977. And when you go back and watch something like that, it looks so, I hate to use the word corny, but it's so clean based on what we see today.
And the cruise ships are so small.
Yeah, well, that's right. And Jack Jones sang the Love Boat theme, and it was written by Paul Williams. Paul Williams, you know, is a great writer, and I worked with Paul at a place, and I can't remember if it's up. Where is Darrell Walter from? It's somewhere in Kentucky.
Owensboro.
Owensboro. That's
Mhm.
exactly where the place was. There was a venue on the river up there, and it was like a nightclub, like you'd see in Las Vegas. It was a small venue, circular seats and so forth. And this was in a hotel there in Owensboro. And I remember getting the call to go up there, and I thought, what in the world is in Owensboro, Kentucky? And we got there, and this hotel was really nice and all open, kind of like the Hyatt in
Yeah.
Nashville. The center was open. And they had this beautiful showroom, I guess I'd call it, in there. And Paul Williams was the guest
Wow.
conductor and artist and all that kind of stuff. And I was just with a group of musicians. I had no idea who we were playing for or with or anything. But a very interesting guy, very talented guy, Paul Williams. Speaking of talent, here's a lady loaded with talent. Judy Garland, on this day in 1955, made her television debut. Now, I would have thought that would have been sooner than that. But I guess TV was just really kind of coming online.
Such a talent and such a tragedy.
It was. And then, of course, her daughter
Yeah.
was probably the most talented woman I've ever seen on stage. Her
Liza.
daughter, Liza Minnelli, was just, if you haven't seen her live, she's hard to explain. Now, if you've seen her doing TV shows or movies, she's a great actress and so forth. But as a performer, on stage, every movement is a show. Every movement has a meaning and a reason. Even finger movement, everything you can think of.
And
It's
an
unbelievable.
entertainer.
Oh my goodness, absolutely amazing. And here's another interesting guy, Elvis Presley. It had the first Elvis convention in Memphis on this day in 1977. Now, I know, didn't Elvis die in 1977?
He sure did. Mhm.
So I don't know what time of the year this could have been.
January.
Okay, well then this would have been after his death. But first Elvis convention held in Memphis on this day in 1977. So those are just a few little tidbits.
You're a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, listen, there's more, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop there and talk about some current events. And one, this is a question: what is going to happen here in Franklin on Halloween? Now, I've been hearing all sorts of things, but it sounds like that the door-to-door thing is postponed this year.
On this program, at this time tomorrow, we'll ask that question to the mayor of Franklin and the city administrator.
Okay. So you might know, so let's just hold the answer.
I don't know,
I
but
don't-
we'll
and
ask.
I've heard all sorts of things, but and it makes sense that they wouldn't have the typical door-to-door thing this year. And especially the thing that they have on West Main Street and Fair Street.
But
It
they're
just
ready
has so
for
many
it.
thousands of children
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it probably would make more sense if they didn't
That's-
do that this year.
That's true.
So, it'll be interesting to see. And, want to congratulate, I don't want to get too, out here on a limb, congratulate the city on voting for, or to move the permit to have a particular gathering of over 20 people, moving that forward. I think that maybe might help to keep us in check here with some of our things going on, some of our unfortunate sister cities around the country having issues. Maybe this will help keep a lid on some of that stuff around here.
The protest
Yes.
law.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks to the city for sort of taking the bull by the horns.
Getting ahead of it.
And getting ahead of it, because, we might need, we've had some protests here already about various things. I guess it's related to the statue and Civil War things, but it could escalate to some of the other things spilling over from other parts of the country, but we don't want that to happen around here.
Not in Franklin.
Not in Franklin, Tennessee. And again, we want to certainly thank the governor for taking charge of this thing. Tennessee looks like it is going to be hopefully somewhat in control, and various cities, Nashville.
It's a Williamson County, and
I know, and so we want to pass those things along. By the way, I want to say too that next Thursday, we will have a visitor
cool.
with us from the east. It could be Karnak.
How far east?
From the east, let's just say it's from the east, and we'll have a visitor that a lot of people will know, and it'll be fun to have this visitor with us, and we'll be
Very cool.
talking various things and maybe reminiscing a little bit.
It's called a tease.
Yeah, so be sure to try to tune in next Thursday, and then don't forget we'll be on YouTube, so if you miss it and you want to see it and hear it, you can go to YouTube, and we do have that up and running. Every show, which we told Ronnie about, is up and running on YouTube, and it's under Round the Clock Realtor.
As
My name.
As far east as Rock Island, maybe?
Yeah, could be that far. Could be that far. But anyway, yeah, and he may have on his Karnak hat.
All right,
We'll have to
okay.
wait and see. But at any rate, look forward to that, and add a little flair to
We'll
our.
get this visitor from the east to forecast the election. How's that?
You know, he probably wouldn't want to talk about the election. Quite honestly. But, anyway, we'll see.
That makes two of us.
Listen, a lot of things going on in Williamson County, and of course, thank goodness they're playing football now.
Oh, yeah.
That brings some.
And the Titans are 2-0.
I know.
And Vanderbilt hadn't lost a game?
That's right. They've lost a lot of players, but they have
Yeah,
lost.
they lost a lot of
I think
players.
I read in the paper yesterday, 6 more
Yeah.
bailed out. Injuries, one transferred, and I think a couple said, I don't want to play with the virus.
Yeah.
So if they keep going, they'll have to have coaches out there on the field, or just forfeit the game.
We'll go out and play for them.
Gee, well, we might do as well as some. Anyway, yeah, so congratulations to all the people pushing these high school sports especially. That's really great. And the kids need that. The
Yeah.
players need that. And of course, the students need to be able to go to the game and support the teams. And I think the best record at the moment is Brentwood Academy. They're 5-0,
Yeah.
I believe. And congratulations to them. They've got a great team again this year. So at any rate, thank goodness there's some activities that are trying to be normal,
This
and we need that.
this is Brentwood Academy's 50th year of football.
It's
And
hard to believe.
the cow pasture boys have a reunion next Friday night.
Wow, now that'd be.
The cow pasture boys was the very first.
Well, and I wonder if Bill Brown was the coach, or, cause I know he was the headmaster for
He was
it,
the
but I wonder if
headmaster.
he was the coach.
Carlton
for that.
Flatt was coach.
Carlton Flatt.
A very young Carlton
Yeah,
Flatt.
well, Bill Brown was a very young coach when I was at BGA, because he was my football coach.
Yeah.
And Bill would get out there and play with us. Now, after the season was over, you'd think, well, we'll end it till next season. Oh, no. Bill was out on the field every day.
Yeah.
Said, now, if y'all want to have a little touch football, come on. That was like, you better come on. We understood what you had to do. But
He was a good man.
Good man and a great coach, obviously. So anyway, but congratulations to all the teams. Whether you win or lose, you're out there playing and working hard and learning how to participate. And some have to win, some have to lose, but that's just the way it is in life. So get used to it on either side. Hey, talk a little bit about
Write
real
that
estate.
down. Get used to it.
Get used to it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Real estate, a lot of activity going on. Unfortunately, the biggest problem we have, and we discuss this on an ongoing basis, is the inventory. 627 homes available, and we sold. I think the number was 625 last month. So when we keep talking about this, when you have a 30-day supply, you really don't have much of anything. And we keep mentioning selling. I mean, I hear ads on the radio, including mine, but I do talk about listing as well as selling, because I certainly like to list houses. If you sell your house or put your place on the market, you better have a place in mind that you are thinking about going, because somebody's liable to put your house under contract pretty quickly, and you might have a tough time finding a place to go. So at any rate, we try to put a plan together when we start talking about whether you want to buy or sell, just to make sure that we don't get caught in a trap. And we've had some people that have actually wanted to withdraw their sale. We put their house on the market and they sold so fast that they didn't have anywhere to go. And they absolutely said, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And you don't wanna be caught in that trap, if at all possible. So anyway, we can hopefully try to help you with that. Let's talk a few numbers here. So far this month, this was through yesterday, 418 have been sold. This is all Williamson County. I always just talk about Williamson County. And last year, just to show you the difference, 391 were sold. So see, even with all of the issues that we have with the virus and so forth, we are still doing better than we were a year ago. So that's quite phenomenal. And then with the lack of inventory, we still have more and more people coming in. You see apartments being built, condos being built, and there's a reason for that. There's just not enough single-family homes to go around. So we're kind of in a pickle, and I don't see how the pace of new construction can keep up with the demand at all. So it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. Of course, we have some permits being asked for, and some subdivisions that are being brought to the Planning Commission and so forth. And keeping in mind, with some of these subdivisions, which are pretty big, with 800 homes, for example, probably would need another school.
That's the horse
Or
farm?
two. Yeah, need another school or two, and then look at the money it costs to build a school today, and then where is that coming from? The developers can't charge enough to the deal to pay for a school. I mean, you just have to keep all these things in mind and be prepared, because our area is changing rapidly with people moving in here from all over the country, and demands are gonna increase.
Even the people who are moving in, they want to close the door.
They do. It's interesting, isn't it?
And,
But that's nothing new. That's
No,
been here,
that's
you know,
been the
they
case
move and they don't
40
want anybody
years.
else coming in here.
yeah,
But I think everybody that's been here for a while knows that it ain't gonna slow down. And I can't see it slowing down. So we have to adjust, and I'm the world's worst, I'll admit. It's hard for me to adjust to some of these changes, like more traffic, more school zones. The schools are just put everywhere, and it seems to, you know, bring traffic to a halt all over the county in the morning and in the afternoon. And so it's hard to adjust to that, but you just have to do it. You just have to get your mind right. And I tell myself when I'm sitting in those lines, just relax. You can't do anything about it, so just try to adjust to it. And you know, if you don't like it, then go around through the countryside. But then when you do that, you run into a school somewhere out in the county. So it's hard to avoid some of these things. So really, you just have to adjust your whole thinking to be prepared for these situations.
well, you know, from that standpoint, I guess I have a different attitude at age 70 as I did when I was at age 50. At age 30, it was bring it on.
Right.
Because
Right.
Franklin, when I
Yeah.
was 30, was a different place.
Oh, yeah.
It was Mayberry.
It was quiet.
It's not Mayberry anymore,
No.
and never
No,
will be.
No, it never will be. And so again, so we have to adjust to it. And I'm not saying stop it. I'm not saying change it. I'm just saying you might as well adjust to it, because it's here, it's coming. We've been planning for this for a long time. A lot of people have been pushing for this for a long time. Here it is. So you got what you asked for, good or bad. And so let's deal with it and make the most out of it. But really, I like I said, I'm the world's worst. I preach it, but it's still hard for me to make that change. But I really do like what's going on, and the fact that we have so many interesting people coming in. But like you said, they do come in and they don't want anybody else to come in.
Have you ever, what's the most time you have sold one house?
How many times
how
have I
many
sold
times-
one
what-
particular house?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably, that's an interesting question, probably 4.
What was it the first time you sold it, and how much did it cost the fourth time you sold it?
It would be a lot. It'd be interesting for me to go back, because I've got probably a handful that I've sold 3, 4, maybe 5 different times. And yeah, each time they go up, and in a couple of cases, I've sold them within a couple of months, because the owners bought and then their reasons for buying changed, and so they said, well, we just want to sell it. And then you go, oh my goodness, how am I going to now get a better price, because I told them it was a good price, which it was, or they wouldn't have bought it. But it's interesting how it seems to always work itself out. And yeah, some of those things. The first house I sold actually was on Fair Street, and a stone cottage for $125,000. And that was a downtown, 1-level, 3-bedroom stone cottage for $125,000. Sold the first day, and I put my sign in the yard, and by that night, I had somebody that said, I'll have you a full price offer in the morning, and I didn't know what to do with it. Honestly, I just didn't know, what does that mean, a full price offer? So anyway, we got a full price offer, and then that house sold probably within a year later for, I can't remember, but it was probably another $100,000 in the year, because things were really beginning. This was 22 years ago, I guess, 23. Things were really beginning to pop in downtown. So to go back and to think of a house like that at $125,000 on a street like Fair Street is, you just wouldn't see that. You know, that house today, if it sold, probably bring $750 would be my guess. So
Has anybody ever called you up 90 days later and saying, Loy, I want to sell this house, I just don't like it?
yeah, that, and then things have changed. But in not liking it, it's not necessarily the house. It may be the traffic flow. It may be the neighborhood that they don't like. Something changed their mind, or maybe they had a change in jobs. But yeah, but that doesn't happen. And I can't come up with a specific, but I know what's happened to me. Just they don't like the house that they bought. And it doesn't necessarily mean here, because I'm trying to think, but I'd have to go back and I guess think about that a little bit. It could have even been a house in Nashville or Columbia or something, I'm not sure.
How
But
many
I've had that
properties
happen.
have you sold?
You know, I don't know, and that's a question that I have here that I was gonna discuss here in a minute, if we have time. I don't know, I don't keep up with that. Some people have asked me when I go to list a house, people will say, well, how many do you have listed right now? Or how many have you sold? And the answer is, I just really don't know. I don't keep up with it because I really don't care, and it's not a feather in my hat for me to say that I've sold, 1,000 homes or 500 or 2,000. It's been several, of course, but I just kind of look at it one sale at a time. One of the main questions, by the way, that comes up when people are interviewing realtors to sell their property or to work with them to help them purchase is, how long have you been a realtor? This is like one of the top 5 questions. How long have you been a realtor? And what's your production level? That's kind of what you've asked. And would you rather, and I don't necessarily say this, but this is a response that's in the list that's been compiled. Would you rather work with a realtor that sold 1 or 2 houses in a year, or would you rather work with a realtor that has sold 25 houses a year? Well, generally, you'd want to work with a realtor that has sold more product because they have more experience, more knowledge, things like that. With the market that we have today, the low inventory, and with all the number of realtors that we have, it's entirely possible for some realtors to sell maybe just 1 or 2 houses a year. And it's not due to their fault necessarily, it's just the way the market is. But at any rate, they think, well, maybe if you don't sell too many, you'll get better service. Well, that's kind of hogwash, I think. The more you do, the more you do. You know what I'm saying? You get in a rhythm, and you just take care of people. And that's one reason that you're selling more houses, is because you are taking care of people. So generally, you try to go with somebody that has more sales experience, which is just production. Another good question: do you have a personal assistant? I can tell you that, and the answer with me is yes. And if you don't, it's really hard to keep up with everything. Now, you hear at the radio station, you do a lot of things, but you can't do everything. You can't do the billing, you can't run the board here, you can't do the commercials, you can't visit people without help. You just can't do it. With being a realtor and with paperwork that you have to do, and planning for advertising and all the things that come up, you might be out in showing somebody a house, and somebody calls it, I gotta have the fact, the sheet sent to me, email me, fax, whatever. Now, well, you can't go 30 miles and send it. You've gotta have your assistant to do those things for you, and you've gotta have that assistant that checks every little item, deadlines, dates, all those kinds of things, because it makes the realtor, the front person, a whole lot better with that excellent backup. And you have to have a really, really good assistant to help you produce, but to help you make things happen. Holly Needham is a young lady that's worked with me for years, and she is tremendous. She even thinks, which I hate to say it, like me, but she's been around me so long, she anticipates what I need and what the customer needs and all that sort of thing. So as long as she's involved in it, I just don't have to worry, because I'll forget something and she'll remind me. And you have to have that. So at any rate, I've got some other questions we'll go over next week if we don't run into too much problem with Karnak that might be here. So at any rate, in the meantime, if you want to talk about real estate, ask a question, get some information, talk values, buy or sell, give me a call. Loy Hardcastle at Parks Realty, 615-790-7400, or stop by our new office location in the Harpless Square facility right behind Landmark Booksellers. And so everybody, Tom, have a great day.
Thanks to the listeners, the name of the movie was Brian's Song.
That's exactly right, Brian's song. Thanks for that information.
Tomorrow morning on the news, 7:05. Thanks to Loy Hardcastle, and get Monkey Time going so we can groove out of here. Hometown Radio Show coming up from Renaissance Bank.